There is no shortage of insane roller coasters for thrill seekers and theme park fanatics to enjoy globally. Just as the space race encouraged countries to shoot for the stars, the coaster wars have pushed engineers to test the boundaries of death-defying drops and ludicrous speeds. So today, we're going to count down the 15 longest roller coasters ever built. Let's kick off things with number 15, Fujiyama. Fujiyama didn't just break records, it shattered expectations. When it opened in 1996, this steel monster towered over everything, earning the title King of Coasters. It was Elvis of its time. Located at Fuji-Q Highland with Mount Fuji looming in the distance, the view is picture perfect if you can see straight while screaming. It climbs to a ridiculous 259 feet before throwing you down a drop that yanks your soul out. It speeds through 2,450 meters of track at 81 miles per hour, and despite being nearly 3 decades old, it still slaps harder than most new rides. There are no gimmicks, just massive hills, sharp banks, and endless speed. What sets it apart? It doesn't rely on theming or tech. It's all about raw, old-school thrill. This is the kind of ride that makes you appreciate the silence after it ends. Fujiyama may not be the fastest anymore, but it's still an icon, roaring loudly at the foot of a mountain that's been around for centuries. Number 14, Falcon's Flight. Falcon's Flight isn't just trying to break records, it's trying to obliterate them. We mean Arab dudes don't do things that are boring. Set to open in 2025 at Six Flags Qiddiya in Saudi Arabia, this monster is aiming for world domination. Tallest, fastest, and longest. The numbers sound fake. 639 feet high, 2.5 miles long, and speeds of 155 miles per hour. But it's real, and it's built into actual cliffs, so the ride doesn't just rise, it soars. Instead of one launch, it has 3, including one mid-descent to supercharge your free fall. Over 700 launch motors? Well, check. Windshields on the trains because your face might just peel off? Yep. This is the first ride in the new EXA coaster category, which basically means we gave up on limits. More than just a thrill machine, Falcon's Flight is a statement. The future of coasters isn't just taller and faster, it's smarter, wilder, and designed to make even seasoned adrenaline junkies second guess. Number 13, Formula Rossa. Formula Rossa is what happens when Ferrari decides a roller coaster should feel like being shot out of a cannon. Located in Ferrari World, Abu Dhabi, this coaster doesn't warm you up. It launches you from 0 to 149 miles per hour in under 5 seconds using a hydraulic system built like something off an aircraft carrier. Forget the first drop. The ride starts with a punch to the chest. Riders wear goggles. Not for show, but because your eyeballs might bail from the wind. Stretching over 2.2 kilometers, it's long, but blink and you'll miss most of it. The layout is sleek, fast, and built to replicate the G-force of an actual Formula One car. Every second is pure velocity. It's not about loops or theatrics, it's about that straight-up speed rush. For adrenaline addicts and speed freaks, Formula Rossa isn't just a coaster. It's a full-body launch into insanity, with a Ferrari badge slapped on top. Number 12, Steel Dragon 2000. Steel Dragon 2000 is big, like absurdly big. You see it long before you reach Nagashima Spa Land. It's that giant red and gray serpent dominating the skyline. Opened in 2000, this thing clocks in at 2,479 meters long, making it the longest coaster on the planet. It's not just about the numbers, though. It's a full-body experience. A slow, torturous climb up a 318-foot lift hill gives you way too much time to think. Then it drops you 307 feet at speeds hitting 95 miles per hour. What follows is an endless sea of airtime hills and wide, sweeping turns built for pure speed and grace. Originally fitted with old-school Morgan trains, it got a glow-up in 2013 with new B and M trains for a smoother ride. Steel Dragon isn't trying to break your neck. It's here to cruise, to fly, to give you a marathon of motion. It's not flashy, it's just massive, and that's the flex. Number 11, Incredicoaster. Well, at first glance, the Incredicoaster looks like pure Pixar charm. But underneath that family-friendly vibe is one of Disney's boldest rides. Clocking in at over 6,000 feet long with a launch that hits 55 miles per hour in just 4 seconds, this coaster doesn't mess around. Reimagined in 2018 from the original California Screamin', it's now themed around The Incredibles, complete with onboard music, animated tunnels, and voiceovers from the actual movie cast. The story? Jack escapes mid-ride, and the whole Parr family is in chaotic pursuit. What sets this one apart is how well the narrative and ride blend. There's even a legit loop held over from the original version, giving that rare Disney inversion moment. Combined with tight turns, airtime hills, and magnetic launch tech, it delivers thrills wrapped in storytelling. It's fast, funny, and unmistakably Pixar, but make no mistake, this thing's still got a bite. Number 10. Fury 325. Fury 325 doesn't warm up. It launches into war mode from the start. With a towering height of 325 feet and a blistering 95 miles per hour top speed, it's the 4th tallest coaster in operation and arguably one of the most intense out there. Located right on the North-South Carolina state line, it literally crosses state borders mid-ride. The first drop? A 320-foot plummet at 81 degrees. From there, the track blasts through high-speed hills, sweeping curves, and a signature treble clef element that twists like a musical staff gone rogue. This ride isn't just fast, it's engineered for perfection. Built by Bolliger and Mabillard, it's smooth, powerful, and surprisingly graceful for something so aggressive. Even the color scheme, buzzing hornet theme, and roaring tunnel help sell the intensity. From skyline views to full-blown gut-punch moments, Fury 325 delivers on every level. Number 9. Guardians of the Galaxy. Cosmic Rewind isn't a typical Disney ride. It's a space-fueled, backward-launching mind trip that just happens to be the longest indoor coaster on the planet. Sitting at Epcot, this beast stretches 5,577 feet or just over a mile of track, and it never lets up. It opened in 2022, marking Disney's first Marvel attraction at Walt Disney World. And yeah, they went full cosmic with it. The entire ride rotates as you fly, meaning your cart turns to follow the story like you're in a sci-fi movie, not a roller coaster. It's fast, smooth, immersive, and weirdly emotional. 1 second you're zipping through wormholes, the next you're vibing to 80s hits that slap way harder than expected. The reverse launch is sleek, the effects are big, and the vibe is pure Guardians chaos. Number 8. Millennium Force. Millennium Force wasn't just a ride, it was a reset button on what coasters could be. When it debuted in 2000, it became the world's first giga coaster, smashing past the 300-foot mark with a jaw-dropping drop that still shakes people up. At 310 feet tall and flying at 93 miles per hour, this steel giant spreads across 6,595 feet of smooth, non-stop speed. There's no pause, no gimmicks, just sustained force from start to finish. The ride uses a cable lift instead of a chain so that the first climb is faster and quieter until you plunge. Every element, those sweeping turns, long airtime hills, and that wind-splitting top speed was built to feel massive yet perfectly controlled. Positioned right next to Lake Erie, the views are cinematic, but don't blink. You'll miss them. Even now, with bigger rides out there, Millennium Force holds its own. It's a modern classic that doesn't scream for attention. It earns it. Do you live to visit it? Well, let us know. Number 7. The Beast. The name says it all. The beast isn't just a wooden coaster, it's a straight-up rite of passage. Built in 1979 at Kings Island with zero help from outside manufacturers, this ride is pure DIY madness. Over 2.2 kilometers of wooden track snake through 35 acres of rugged terrain like a creature unleashed. It's not flashy. No inversions, no fancy theming, just a relentless 4-minute run through tunnels, hills, and turns that feel like you're outrunning something ancient. The first drop doesn't even tell the whole story. It's the second lift hill and that double helix finale that'll scramble your brain. This ride doesn't try to impress with records, even though it still holds the title for the longest wooden coaster. It just drags you into the woods and doesn't let go. The sound of the track, the rattle of the cars, the wind in your face, it's raw, unfiltered coaster energy. The beast doesn't roar. It rumbles from below and dares you to survive it. Number 6. Superman El Ultimo Escape. Superman. El Ultimo Escape is the kind of coaster that doesn't just borrow Superman's name, it earns it. Sitting in the heart of Mexico City at Six Flags, Mexico, this steel hypercoaster blasts you down 5,577 feet of track at 75 miles per hour. The climb hits 217 feet, but it's that first drop that feels like you're launching straight through the stratosphere. Built in 2004 by Intamin, this thing hasn't aged. It's become a national icon. From the moment you step into the queue, the theming throws you into Metropolis. Newspapers, villains, red and blue everything. Then the ride kicks in with a calm start, just to bait you into the most dramatic drop in South America. What follows? Airtime hills that genuinely give you flight, high-speed curves that yank your stomach sideways, and a layout that just doesn't quit. In 2020, rumors said it was closing, but it was just a prank. Number 5. Desperado. Desperado was built to catch attention, and it still does, even decades later. This desert legend stands at 209 feet, with a first drop that plunges 225 feet into the baked Mojave dust. When it opened in 1994, it wasn't just a ride, it was a billboard, grabbing drivers' eyes along the Nevada-California border. At nearly 5,843 feet of track and speeds pushing 80 miles per hour, Desperado wasn't subtle. The ride kicks off from inside Buffalo Bill's casino, crawling up a long lift hill before free-falling into a dark tunnel. From there, it whips through Camelback Hills, delivering some serious old-school airtime. Back in its prime, it was among the tallest coasters on Earth and helped define what a hypercoaster could be. Though it's been silent since 2020, talks of a full renovation keep hope alive. Desperado may be paused, but it hasn't been forgotten. Number 4. The Voyage. Buried in the woods of Indiana is one of the wildest wooden coasters ever built, the Voyage. With 6,442 feet of relentless track, this thing doesn't cruise, it conquers. Built to echo the journey of the Mayflower, it's themed to exploration, and fittingly, every second feels like a discovery. The layout is chaos in the best way. 24 seconds of airtime, 3 huge drops, one of them 154 feet at a steep 66 degrees, and a 90-degree banked turn you don't expect from wood. The ride rips through tunnels, twists around trees, and never lets off the gas. What makes it hit harder is how it uses the natural terrain. You're not just on a coaster, you're flying through a forest. Ride it at night, and half the track vanishes into pitch black. It's fast, aggressive, and still somehow smooth for a wooden monster. The Voyage doesn't feel nostalgic. It feels alive. Number 3. Steel Force. Steel Force isn't flashy, but it doesn't need to be. This is a purebred steel hypercoaster, the kind that looks simple until it wrecks you with airtime. Located at Dorney Park in Pennsylvania, this ride stretches over 5,600 feet, rockets to 75 miles per hour, and starts with a 205-foot drop that hits harder than you expect. Opened in 1997, Steel Force was the first hypercoaster on the East Coast, and it helped define what that term even meant. The layout's classic out and back. You shoot out far, hit a series of hills, then tear your way back through tunnels and banked turns. Those camelback hills? They launch you. That mid-ride tunnel? Pure chaos in the dark. No gimmicks, no screens, just speed, height, and gravity doing their thing. Even with modern coasters stealing the spotlight, Steel Force still hits like it's got something to prove. And yeah, it kinda does. Number 2. Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance is what happens when engineers say, what if we took a wooden coaster, made it terrifying, and then rebuilt it in steel for fun? Born from the ashes of Mean Streak, this hybrid masterpiece opened in 2018 and instantly changed the game. It stretches 5,740 feet, stands 205 feet tall, and sends riders plummeting straight down a 90-degree drop at 74 miles per hour. With 27 seconds of airtime, the most of any coaster on Earth, 4 inversions, and a layout that whips you through wood and steel supports like a pinball, it never gives you a second to breathe. You're twisted, launched, rolled, and spun, over and over. It doesn't look like a traditional wooden coaster, but it roars like one. It's smooth, but still wild. Steel Vengeance didn't just revive an old coaster. It turned it into something that now defines Cedar Point's legacy. Number 1. Mamba. Tucked into the Africa section of Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, this steel beast stretches 5,600 feet and climbs to a towering 205 feet. It's a near twin to Steel Force, but with its own swagger. When it opened in 1998, it was one of the tallest, fastest rides in the Midwest, and it still pulls crowds like it's brand new. The ride starts quietly. A slow lift hill gives you just enough time to panic. Then it drops you into a 75-mile-per-hour sprint that never looks back. From that point on, it's airtime hill after airtime hill, each one designed to make your stomach float. Add in a high-speed helix that feels like a blender set to spin, and you've got a ride that's all about raw, fast fun. It doesn't rely on tricks or flashy theming. It just hits every thrill note clean. If you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.